on their heels. Well, there are the teams. There have been some distractions for the French over the last few weeks. The top 8 playoffs mean most of the squad were back playing with their clubs and concentrating on their domestic campaigns, and they did pick up a few injuries as well. Big blow with the loss of Shannon Izar because of a broken hand. Interesting to see how they get on without her. Jennifer Chauncey as well, and Elodie Bouillon also miss out because of injury. So in come Audrey Amil, Montserrat Amdi and Laureline Fourcade. Sude is beside me. You made your international debut against Spain, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that's quite some time ago now, 1997. None of these players were playing then, but a big test for Spain today against this France side. Yes, France short of a couple of their big game players, a couple of their strike runners, but you'd still think they'd have too much for Spain.
Well, we were here yesterday, and as the guys were mentioning earlier on, conditions were absolutely horrendous. It's a beautiful afternoon for rugby at Twickenham Stoop, and Spain in the huddle. Success record against the French hasn't been great. In fact, they've only managed 1 try in the 3 previous meetings, so that kind of tells its own story, doesn't it?
It certainly does. Spain have struggled for consistency, they've struggled for continuity, and to be honest, they've struggled for pace. They really have to keep their hands on the ball for a good chunk of each of the 7 minutes if they want to threaten a French side that's got a bit more when it comes to strike running.
Referee for this one, as you've seen, Rasta Razavengi, and we are just about set to go. Spain in their traditional red strips and Les Bleus of France. Want to watch these kickouts as well. Perhaps New Zealand very impressive apart from the restarts.
Yeah, they started with Tyler Nathan Wong off the pitch and the rest of the team not able to rise to our usual high standards. Patricia Garcia, they're one of the best kickers in the women's game.
It's not a bad start. And early possession for France. Biscarat fires one out. Porta, the captain, and offloads nicely to Laganu. Physicality, the French, something to watch out for. Reputation has it that they'll even take the New Zealanders on in that department, but good hit early on from Spain. And Angel Del Pan puts her up to number on the ground. France wins possession. Laganu to Orta. A bit of space from Thomas. So far, Spanish defence pretty good, holding their line well. France can't get through. Ledouf tried the switch, didn't go to plan. A chance for Spain to break here. Garcia. Biscarat goes back. And the French still have it now. They should have numbers here if they straighten. Horta brought down a decent tackle. You wonder, was that the right option? But France still have possession. Horta again, making that hard yards just over the halfway line. But Agnew trying to use their pace. Spanish cover was there. Tackle goes in. It's gone into touch. France looking to get on with it quickly, but I mean, decent retention from France, but equally good defence from Spain.
Good defence from Spain. France didn't really challenge them, did they? Just moved the ball from side to side, made it easy for Spain to follow them. They had one opportunity, as you said, Fanny Horta took the wrong option, stepped inside when she had 3 players on the outside. France haven't really challenged the Spanish defence yet.
Well, you mentioned the lack of strike runners, the 3 names I mentioned at the start from injury. On the basis of what we've seen, it's early days, but they might struggle just to compensate for that. Spain, let's see what they can do. Far this time from Casado. Barbara Platt tried to break the line, but France equal to it, and they give away the penalty as well, so advantage to Spain. Quick tap and go. Grubber kick. So the Brazilians tried that on a couple of occasions, and it really just hands possession right back to the opposite team. When you work hard to get it back, the last thing you want to do is give it away.
You're going to kick in France, it's got to be to get the ball back, otherwise you're just giving possession away.
Ladagnu sets it up. Spanish contestant on the ground. Now there's definite overlap on the left here if the French can use this one. Straight in line of the pass. Thomas calling for it in the wing. How much pace has she got? Thomas with a handoff into touch. Again, good Spanish defence.
Good Spanish defence, and the cardinal sin of all wide players in rugby, allowing yourself just to get nudged off the pitch like that. It's a wide old pitch, step inside, challenge the defence. As it is, Rose Tomás giving the ball straight back to Spain.
Maria Casado to throw. No problem there. thought about the return pass, but Spain have it now. Going to keep it on the blind side. Pretty good. Tackle goes in by Graciano. It's there again for Garcia, who fires one out. Casado shifts it on nicely to Garcia. Two of them in the team, in case you think I'm calling the same player twice, but French get a hand on it. Did it go forward? Well, they're offside on the ruck, so Spain get on with it quickly, and a beautiful break. Look at this. How much pace has she got? Cla. Super stuff by Spain. First try of the game, and France are in trouble.
Eli Martinez is the player on the Spanish team with the pace. She's the one, if she gets the ball in a bit of space, that can make a difference. She managed it there. France really haven't managed to challenge Spain. Eli Martinez picks the ball up, quick tack, bang, she's gone. France don't reorganise themselves quickly enough. They can't catch her. Even Graciano, one of the best players on this French team with a lot of pace, plays wing in 15s, couldn't catch her. First blood, Spain.
Well, top point scorer in the Rugby World Cup 2013, Martinez, the captain, leading by example, and France look a little bit shocked by that. Brilliant start for Spain. Can they make it even better? Just short with the conversion attempt. So 5 points to 0. France have got to get themselves together here.
Yeah, for my money, France are just being a bit too lateral, side to side, and they've got some lovely playmakers, some lovely steppers in this team. Biscara, Graciano, Le Duff. They need to mix things up a little bit. You can't just pass the ball from side to side. Let the exciting, ball-carrying, stepping players do a bit of the work.
Spain restart. It's just going to go 10. That's a really good kick. And they got possession straight back. France having to defend once again. Knocked on, just couldn't hold it there, Casado. So a chance to counter-attack from here. Fanny Horta, the captain, trying to claw France back into this game, but to the 22, gets the pass away as well. Now, any room on the outside, the pass goes straight into the hands of a Spanish player, and well, what looked like a real try opportunity. Barbara Pla comes away with it, and she's just before the halfway line. Good contest for the ball though, French regrouping, and they have an advantage, none coming off their feet from Spain. Quick tap and go this time. It's Christelle Ledouf. Thomas leaves it. Back for Graciano. Number 8 for France. Tackle well though by Angel Delpan. And there for the French again. Mayan. Horta. Looks for space on the wing. Is there for Ladagnu? Oh, beautiful! Round the outside, and France have a try back. Well, no less than they deserve, really.
No, Ladagnu it is. If it's Eli Martinez for Spain, that's usually one that gets over the try line. For France, it's Caroline Ladagnu had bought in a little bit of space, and it's Eli Martinez she's up against. But too much power from Caroline Ladagnu. France did work it well. They moved the ball right into the outside spaces, and this time Ladagnu makes no mistake.
Christelle Ledouf is going to attempt the conversion. It's right in the corner. Just to push France ahead. Not a bad strike, but the flags stay down. So 5 points each. Entertaining first half. Well, there's the whistle. Time for one last play. Gerber kick goes short. Fanny Horta, beautiful pickup as well. France trying to edge themselves in front, perhaps before the half-time whistle, and Spain have it now. Little floating pass on the outside to Berta Garcia in the scrum cap. Uses her strength, but she can't hang on to it. It's gone forward. Well, that's it. One try apiece. Entertaining first half overall.
Yeah, entertaining and very, very tight. We've seen France start slowly against Spain before. Big results against this France team.
Well, the last time these two sides met in Atlanta, France won 36-0. That'll tell you where Spain have come to get to this stage. But typically the French slow starters, I suppose. Tap and go. Casado. Tackle well though, that was a big hit from Christelle Ledouf. He's had a good game. Chance to squeeze this one out the right hand. Biscara, lovely offload as well. supported by Ladagnu, the try scorer. She's trying to go around the outside, managed to keep the ball in play, and Spain have just enough numbers there. Casado dived on it, got the penalty.
France off their feet, desperate defence there. There goes Ladagnu. This time she's not quite going to make it around Patricia Garcia. Excellent technique in the tackle.
Spain try to relieve a bit of pressure and bring play right on the halfway line, so they have a line out. Last one went exactly according to plan. Thomas in for France. Grassino as well in the middle. She'll be contesting this one. She got up really well. That was brilliant. And Christelle Leduff tried to go through the gap. Spain closed it, but France still have. Grassino fires one off to Mayan. Biscarat to Leduff. She lost that one. Did it go forward? It did. Advantage being played to Spain. 3 on 3. Casado just took the tackle. And the physicality of the French there, making their presence felt. Big hit goes in. Shipped on nicely by Martinez, the captain and try scorer for Spain. And France hold their line. French trying to get up quickly, but a bit of space here now for Spain. Rivera. Spain hanging on to possession. Garcia lost it in the tackle though, and France will get the scrum.
Scrappy stuff, and probably a poor decision from Garcia. Lots of space out wide for Spain. She chose to take it forward. In the end, knocked on. There she goes, steps just inside Christelle Leduff, but the ball just goes down in the tackle.
I mean, I mentioned France in that crucial 4th place at the moment. They have 2 teams breathing down their neck, and maybe a little bit of nerves creeping in early on.
Yeah, a bit of pressure, and it's tough when you haven't got what might ordinarily be your first choice team. So you've got new players coming in like Rose Thomas, good player, but hasn't played much with this team, so you're not quite so instinctively understanding what the player next to you is going to do. So yeah, pressure on absolutely. That 4th Olympic spot, so crucial to teams.
And they have that bounty on their head. Oh, look at that beautiful pace. Biscarat. Is anybody going to catch her? No way. Brilliant stuff by Biscarat. And France take the lead. It's taken them a long time, but they have their noses in front now. Spain, they look a little bit dejected after all that effort.
Pauline Biscarat has become such a crucial player for this French team. She is right in the middle of everything they do. The little playmaker, the player who can change direction on a sixpence. This time she's the finisher. Ball comes out from Leduff, and it's this little bit of footwork from Biscarat. She stops the defender in her tracks and then goes on the outside and has the pace to finish it off. That's a really, really important try for France.
And Leduff to add the extra 2, she does so. So France, well, they can breathe a little sigh of relief, I think, after what has been a really good performance from the Spanish so far. And I'm sure, looking at the sideline here, the coaches, I'm sure, want them to kick on now and score that next try.
Certainly will. We're talking about inexperience on the pitch. Biscarat, one of the most experienced players, so crucial for France now.
Restart. Spain, well, they dropped it, but it went backwards, I think, and it was Maria Rivera who got away with that one. Little show. Now, gap opening up here, perhaps. Spain, well, they're not finished yet. 2 on 1. If that had gone to hand, it hasn't done. And a substitute just on the field, Echevarria, does well to try and break the tackle and the offload as well. Martinez hits the deck. Echevarria. Little switch. Not a bad one, but there was a massive overlap out wide there to go wide.
Doesn't look like a good decision, does it, right now with that turnover?
France scrapping for that ball on the ground. They give away the penalty though, not releasing. But Spain, they had 3 on 1 if that ball had gone wide.
Yeah, so we've seen Spain do that a couple of times in this match, haven't they? Take the inside ball, run the switch when there's a gaping spaces out wide. They've let France off the hook a couple of times, it's fair to say. And
in this game, you've got to make the right decisions. I mean, in terms of pace and power, there's not a lot between the top sides in the world. It's those split-second decisions that win games.
Yeah, and it's such a short game. You know, if you don't take the right decision once, you might not get another chance. Big call from Spain and the wrong one.
Well, they're taking the time over this line out, and they don't have a lot of it left inside the last 2 minutes, and they need a try, a converted try, just to tie things up. So good ball off the top to use from here. It wasn't straight. It didn't look straight from here, in fairness.
It didn't, but I think Restivengi's seen a penalty offence, so Spain lucky to get away with it, will get the ball. No.
With the scrum.
Yeah. So what, a minute and a half for France to keep their hands on this ball.
Well, they have been tested, and they're not there yet. Keep possession, I think, the aim of the game for the next 90 seconds or so. Here's the try score. Biscarat fires one out to Fanny Orta, the captain. Ladanu trying to go out on the outside, keeps it in. The captain got there, but she dropped it.
Bit of confusion out there, players. I don't think seem to know what the call is either, but France forcing the offload there, giving Spain the chance to get their hands back on the ball.
Well, need their experience now just to settle things down. Lauriane Lissard comes in, 22 years of age, and I'm sure instructions just see out this game. Don't make any mistakes. Spain have the ball. Garcia to Martinez. We know how quick she is from that first try. Spanish need something from her, but they're running out of time. Just over 30 seconds left to play. Martinez to act as scrum half, does so. Pass wasn't good, and it's an unforced error that's going to cost Spain, and you'd imagine that is that if France can just keep this ball.
Yeah, and that's pretty much the story of Spain's season. Too many unforced errors here. The ball just goes to ground. There's no need for that at all. She wasn't under any pressure whatsoever. It just hands the ball back to the opposition. A few seconds left for France. Keep their hands on the ball here, and they'll be booting it off the pitch, I should imagine.
Time for one last play. Well, that was a fall from grace there. Lizard only just on the field, but she's going to field that one, and Spain have one last chance here, crucially. What can they do with it? Martinez takes it in. Need to get that ball out. French defence has to hold firm here. Decent tackle goes in from Horta, the captain. She's been the best player for France in this opening game, but it's not over yet. Still the tackles go in. Le Duff. Is there one last throw for the Spanish? Crossfield run, but it's taken all the French with her, and that's a knock on. That should be that. That was a chance.
Poor from Spain. You've got so many players out wide. Don't run the ball across the pitch, pass it across the pitch. It gets the ball there much quicker. France a little bit lucky to get away with that one. France, well, we just about caught our breath after that magnificent game, and what a result for Spain. But it's the second round turn for France and Brazil, and two sides with contrasting fortunes in their opening matches. France eventually saw Spain, though they did make hard work of it, but on the basis of what we've just witnessed, you can see exactly why. And maybe the Spanish didn't get the credit they deserve for that. Brazil were well beaten by New Zealand. The South Americans and the hosts for the Olympic Games, of course, will be hoping to make amends for that defeat. We're just about ready to go. Leah Berard is the referee, and the excitement around the ground after that result.
Well, the best thing about this women's competition, this series, is it's got better and better as each tournament has gone more competitive, and the upsets just keep coming. Who knows what will happen in this one?
We wait and see. France going for 2 out of 2. Brazil to get their tournament off, if you like, with a win after being hammered by New Zealand last time out. And we are underway, and it's Cohan with the kick-off. So France, what have they learned after that opening game to Spain, which, as we say, puts things into context now, and this is an early opportunity for them. There's two queuing up outside, and it should be, well, the pass was okay, but Chloe Pell, who was on the bench for the first game, is come into the starting 17, and she's hauled towards the touchline. Good strength in the tackle there to push her out.
It was, but really nice movement from France there. The forward momentum, most of the passes were on the money. Look at that there defensively. 3 players on one, driven over.
So first line out to Brazil. It'll be Ishibashi to throw in. A couple of big targets for her to aim at.
Really stretched out their line out, Brazil.
Well, that's not bad. A couple of throws didn't go to plan against New Zealand in that first game, but that's a lot better. And maybe they have been working on that over the last couple of hours or so. It's a knock-on, though, and it's advantage to the French. So even if Brazil do manage to rob this ball, the whistle sounds and we go back for the scrum to France, a chance inside the 22.
Oh, Ishibashi there. She shot a bullet pass. It was just too close. That's how the knock-on came about. So France get an opportunity very close to the try line.
Well, Chloe Pell, as I mentioned, one of two changes for Dave Cortex from the opening game. Montserrat Amdi also comes in. She's wearing number 10 and standing just outside the scrum. Here she is. They're standing very wide. So obviously they fancy their chances in a foot race. And here comes Latanu, scored it in the opening game. And a little offload to pass as well to Fanny Horta. The captain's going to go into the corner. Brilliant try from the French. It's basic 7 rugby. Draw in the defender, use the space. There you go.
Yeah, the pass to Ladanus wasn't great to begin with, but the loop around there by the try scorer, Horta, gave them the extra man on the outside. So there it was, the bounce pass. Ladanus draw in 2 defenders, the wrap around, and then a lot of pace to get over.
Well, it's a statement of intent from France after what I mentioned was a little bit of a slow start in their opening game. And look at that for a kick from the corner to add the extra 2 points. Absolutely brilliant. 7-0, France lead, and Brazil need to get back into this one.
Well, when France hit this year's series in Dubai last year, they had some incredible form, and this suggests maybe they're back to that.
6 times these countries have met. France have won 5 of those, Brazil just the 1.
Knock on.
An advantage to the French for a knock-on. At the moment, it's just not happening for Brazil.
You've got to remember too that France are missing 3 of their top line players.
Yeah.
They all got injured in their top 8 competition, which is 15 aside. And, you know, the question has to be asked when it's Olympic qualifying up for grabs in these 2 tournaments, why would you release your players for 15s?
We got the impression, reading between the lines, that relationships were a little bit frayed between 7s and clubs in the top 8 in France, and you can understand why. And with so much on the line, as Mel was saying, you have to question where the priorities are. Well, at the moment, France get on with it, and they have a penalty. Quick tap and go from Christelle Ladouf. Taken up by Mayan. And the try scoring captain, Fanny Horta, gets rid of it. And France come back here again now. Straighten up a line here. And they got 4 runners outside. Chance to go up. Grassino. Pass is okay. Was it looked on the line? Pell is going to go in and score. It was flat at best, but it doesn't matter because France have their second score, and it's scored by number 9, Chloe Pell.
Wow. I tell you what, they've sped up the intensity in their game, haven't they, from the first one we saw today. Yep, the passes aren't 100% all of the time, but they're moving it quickly, and that's the point. And look at this. The pace on the outside. Pell, and goes under.
Yeah, really well done. Beautiful pass, as you said, from right. It's right in front of us. I thought for a second it might be, but the referee was in the right position at the right time, and she had no problem with it. The conversion attempt, well, it's good. 2 from 2, 14 points to 0. This is more like the France that we know and love.
Yeah, really enjoying the style, moving it, using the space, taking them on individually as well.
It's the history of French rugby, isn't it? That's what they love to do, keep the ball in hand. You think that France would be dominant in the 7 series just based on the way that they've always played rugby, their approach to this game. And 7s should suit them down to the ground. At the moment, they're in control against Brazil, who are looking for their first score in this game. A monster hit goes in, and it forces the turnover ball, and up comes Amadi. She's trying to go in. Oh, decent tackle, though,
Penalty
by
advantage,
Arujo.
blue, high tackle, yellow.
And the advantage as well for the high tackle. The pass did not need to go. It did. We'll go back for the penalty.
Leave it over here, please.
Well, Amadi thought she was in. She might get another chance here, but one of the Brazilian players is down, getting attention.
It's okay.
Oh, yep, the referee's called it up. It would have been a 7-on-6 situation, which gives all the advantage to France.
It's Ishibashi who was down, but she's back on her feet, thankfully.
Looking a little bit ginger, have to say.
Big tackles going in there. I mean, we mentioned the physicality of the French. Well, Mayan didn't seem to know quite where she was going on that occasion, but she sets up the ball, and they're going to come on this near side. Grassino squares up 2 defenders, gets the ball back through her legs, and it's there for Pell. No, it's not. Brazil driving through, and they get the penalty. That's great work for the South Americans.
Yeah, really attacking the ruck, the breakdown, forcing the turnover there. Look at the fight, the leg drive. She's on her knees, but 3 of them are there. Great body position too. Decent
touch will set up a line out, and after the first one that we saw, Brazil obviously quite comfortable now to use the set piece and get possession. I suppose it's a tough one for Brazil, Mel, because, you know, they are the host, they qualify automatically no matter what happens here. I wonder, just in their minds, can they subconsciously get up to that level of intensity that you need to win these games?
Look, I really think that they know they're going to be at a home crowd next year in Rio, and they have to perform well because, you know, you're playing in front of your friends, family and your nation. You don't want to embarrass yourself. I think they have played a really lovely style of sevens. It's just that maybe they need some kind of different athletes added to this mix, big players as well.
Well, we'll have to wait and see how they do in their home territory, but for the moment they have possession and they're going to run it. Kohan just into touch. That should be that. It is. The half-time whistle goes. Well, it's been a pretty dominant performance by the women of France. 2 tries, impressive play. Half-time, France 14, Brazil 0.
Feels it's accuracy. Accuracy. All your little half breaks, we're just throwing the ball away, we're not looking, you're scared of the contact. Either take the collision, settle up, and go into your systems. Right now you're playing one phase. One phase.
Entrando em contato e jogando nossa bola para fora. Então, precisamos entrar em contato melhor, tipo, segurar nossa bola. Tem confiança de, tipo, eu vou entrar em contato
and defense skills. If you're going to do an arc with a slide defense, you need to slide across the field with pace. You're just coming up and then jogging across, and they're getting on the outside of your playing. So move your butts across the field. Link up.
Na desliza, precisamos trabalhar mais duro para realmente chegar para o lado do campo.
And the second thing is you're not wrapping the ball up. All their tries could have been a simple tackle if you hit it hard and drove them back 2 meters. You're reaching with your hands again and they're flicking the ball out.
Ou faz tackle
Stop the offload.
E derruba ela 2 metros para trás, ou para ela de liberar os braços da bola. Você realmente
I want you to move it into space. You did it once and we threw the ball away. Come on, ball control phases. Let's go.
Can I just say that Chris Neal, the Kiwi coach, is not happy?
He's not happy. Plus he also gets half the time that everybody else has because he needs a translator. So he's got to wait for all his comments to be repeated while the French just get on with it. Yeah, I mean, look, you can see he's not happy. And to be fair, he has a lot of good points there.
Look, the one phase thing, what he means is that they're taking it into the tackle and losing it. And really, you have to build phases to create the space.
That's it. It's all about patience in attack and waiting for your moment to come and not forcing the opportunity. That was a really good take, though. Have the words sunk in. Can Brazil get something going? Here we go. Sarta, the captain, leaves it. Arujo, she's dropped it and it's gone forward.
Yeah, so the systems they were trying to do, the execution wasn't quite right. They're spinning it to the second person in from the sideline and then looking to go inside one more time. There's often a hole there. If she had have made the pass just a little softer, who knows what could have happened.
Well, the French have split their attackers behind the scrum. I can tell you that the captain, Fanny Orta's come away onto the right wing, so that would lead you to believe that that's where they're going to go. That's exactly what's happened. Amdi, under a little bit of pressure, looks for a gap. That almost came. Chloe Pell, one try for her already. Looks for the offload, gets it, went backwards. That's okay. France now trying to secure possession. Brazil making life difficult. Referee says illegally, so
One
in from
yellow.
the side, and Chloe Pell wastes no time. This is a monster overlap. Surely it's just a case of hands here. It should be. Ladagnu. Oh yes, it's easy as you like for France. Wasting no time getting on with it, but Brazil looks bent.
Great reaction from France. Ladagnu's over. And that happened because Brazil had committed so many players there, 4 to that breakdown. The quick tap, the accurate passing out. Looked slightly forward, didn't it? But hey, this is a try. Referee didn't call it up. Really good response from France.
If you commit that amount of players in a sevens game to a breakdown, you have to win the ball, or else give away a penalty, because
Absolutely.
that's where they were caught. No good with the conversion attempt, 19 points to 0. And this is impressive from France. You never want to show your full hand, I suppose, in the opening game. Important that they got the win against Spain, but this is definitely taking up another gear. And Christelle Ladouf to restart. Oh, that's poor from Brazil again. You could see Cocan right underneath that ball. She should have claimed it, but she didn't. But Brazil can see the penalty, not releasing on the ground. Time to get on. Toma. Nice looping pass. Oh, yes, beautiful, beautiful. Fanny Horta, she's not going to be stopped. And France are in again. This is an impressive performance from France, and Brazil at the moment, they just don't want to know about it.
They're so accurate in the second half, France. Everybody's playing as a team, putting it through the hands. Horta here, she even had a player on the outside of her as well if she needed it. They're on fire.
I mean, you don't like to single out people, but Raquel Ocoyen for Brazil, their number 10, should have taken that restart. She just buried her head, and the conversion attempt off the post and over. Good kick by Ladouf, so 26 points to 0.
Yeah, the quality of this French side means you can't make one error. They'll pounce on it, they'll make you pay. Very good.
Thank you.
Ladouf, 3.5 minutes left to go. A lovely high restart. All about giving your chasers enough time to get up there, contest for the ball. And Thomas just put her opposite number straight to the ground. Now, Brazil, 3-on-2 here. France drifting across, but so too the attacker, and absolutely smashed in the tackle by Ladagnu. Little dummy once again. Strong shoulders.
No arms in that either.
No. Taken up by Brazil. Santini gets them on their way. This is Gavert. Looks for the offload. Gavert gets it back. Tackle was good from Thomas. France have come away with it. Almost at the halfway line. And they have the advantage. Brazil, again, committing a lot of numbers to that ruck ball. Can France make them pay? Ladouf. Thomas. Support back inside if she wants it. Thomas, beautiful. Well, she's not going to be stopped. The long stride of Rose Thomas, and she's in again, and France are in again.
Oh, the defence from Brazil was in disarray. Once again, they went the one phase, knocked the ball on, lost it. The French, they pounced, used their flair. Nice little in pass, Thomas. Quite determined. The chase was on there from Brazil, but really all too easy. They're really wiping Brazil off the park, aren't they?
Brazil looked dejected, and however angry Chris Neal was before the second half started, you can imagine he's none too impressed by what he's seen. Another decent effort with the conversion. That one doesn't go through. 31 points to 0. And France are cruising.
Maybe they can sniff New Zealand's blood.
Maybe. Maybe the Invincibles are vulnerable. We'll wait and see.
Back.
Ball just went back there for Audrey Amil, but again, Brazil,
Stay.
they're all over the place. Committing a lot of numbers there to the breakdown when France clearly had that ball. Fourcade dropped it. Now Brazil come through and put pressure on. That's a decent tackle by Roca. And they get the penalty. Now, for pride in the jersey alone, they want to score and get across that French line. Can they do it from this time? Lovely pass, and an even better line taken up this time by Godoy. Strength to carry, almost at the line for Brazil. But have they been held up? Ball's gone to ground. Did it go forward? No, says the referee. Play on. Chance still there. No, not anymore. They had the penalty.
That was so near a try. If Godoy and Rocha had got their body positions just a little lower, really driven the legs, sure it would have been a 5-pointer.
Another chance to go. Godoy here. Look at the strength. Look at the strength with 4 French players hanging off. Surely it is. It is! Brazil are in. Well, that'll do their coach maybe raise a little bit of a smile for Chris Neal. I think it's Gavert who's got it, and 5 points back. Too little, too late though.
It was Rocha who went over in the end.
It was Russia, sorry, yeah.
And Godoy, well, this is what you use your bigger players for, your power players, just to hit it up short. And then all the defensive players were pulled in, and Rocha just jumped over the melee.
Her 5th try for Brazil. Right at the death. Conversion attempt won't matter. But this has been a lesson for Brazil. Left-footed kick is no good. That is the final whistle. France step it up a gear. How many more gears have they got over the next day and a half or so? But this was certainly very impressive. 31-5, the final score.
Women's game, so this is arguably his strongest team combination wise. You know, they really want a victory because France, they've been the form team. They've shown they can play fluid, accurate rugby with plenty of flair to boot.
Keep an eye out for number 7 in the French team, Caroline Ladenus. 14 tries she has scored this season. She scored 2 here in London on day 1. And she has got plenty of pace, and plenty of class.
Got to point out too that New Zealand, even though they lost to Spain, they have scored 9 tries to France's 7. So we all know how dangerous they are with ball in hand, how much flair they have too.
New Zealand will still qualify, well, they should qualify as one of the worst out of the pool. But they were rocked earlier today, and so time now to have a look at the character of this team. How do they respond, Mel?
Well, the only way they can, which is not only to play to their structure, because they have been doing that well, but basically looking to break tackles. We haven't seen them really putting their head down and trying to smash through the defensive systems. So I just want to see them, you know, play like they normally do.
American referee Leah Berard has the whistle, and Tyler Nathan Wong has the ball. The third match for these two sides in Pool 8, and the start down and taken in is Mayans. Quickly moved across, coming up very quickly was Broughton. The ball went to ground, and now the tackle on Gracinou. Quickly cleared. French playing in the white strip, New Zealand in the all black. As Mayans, the firefighter, goes into contact yet again. Recycled, a wild pass there, and the French are happy to just go backwards to go forwards. They're still in control of possession, but New Zealand looking for a turnover. Good line speed, good defensive work so far. And Ledouf gets it out here, looking for a little bit of a break, and they finally spot some holes in this New Zealand defence. It's not easy. Brazier's out of the line, and now Broughton's got it. They should score here. Woodman's got it. Woodman's in for another try. Portia Woodman scores try number 88.
Well, New Zealand, how about that? They turned their defence into attack. They were up in the French spaces the whole way, and that pushed that mistake, which Kelly Brazier just picked up, that loose wide pass, and then Woodman, first try of the tournament, first game.
45 tries this season. She scored 2 in the match earlier against Brazil, and their all-time 88. And just putting things in perspective, if you have just joined us, she scored 45 tries in 4 tournaments, this being the 5th. Seabelo Sinatla from South Africa is on 43 tries in the men's series, and they have played 8 tournaments.
What you're saying is she is damn good.
She's special, there's no doubt about that. And now the restart, this combination works well. Tyler Nathan Wong, and Goss goes up and claims it, the New Zealand captain, but it's bounced back, that's been lost forward. The referee says it's back, and so Goss claims the ball, and here is New Zealand again on attack through Brazier. Nathan Wong, Broughton steps, tries to create some space in a mismatch, but a good tackle coming in from Horta. One way and then the other, the dive pass from Woodman. Brazier draws in few defence, and here goes Goss. Goss trying to create some space for Hidemi. Look at the ball movement from the New Zealand side, prepared to find some space, and Broughton's got Woodman on the outside. Woodman's looking for a brace, one to beat. Good tackle coming in, had to be made by Gracinu. And now the Kiwis, not a great pass, but picked up beautifully by Tubic. Swarming in are the French. Brazier. Here is Broughton. Back, says the American referee, and good control there from Broughton with the ball. Running across, looking for Tubic back on the inside. A lot of tackles now being made by the French. Woodman identifies the space out wide. Brazier, and that pass has gone forward, I think. Referee didn't see it, hasn't been called. Broughton with a lovely offload. Tubic, and Tubic scores.
Well, New Zealand mean business big time in this match. The intensity is lifted, what, 1 or 2, hasn't it? That was a beautiful little back pass from Broughton in the end, but it went through plenty of hands. Look at that power from Tubic. Woodman identified Brazier was out there. Here it is. Back Sonny Bill alike pass, and Tubic so busy. Great work rate. Gee, they're looking good so far.
This is the New Zealand side that we've come to know this season in particular. Defending champions here in London. They went 37 games unbeaten. Upset earlier today, but they're responding in the best possible way.
They look angry, don't they? I like that anger. They admit themselves they had a very poor performance in that loss to Spain. They would have been so disappointed because their standards are so very high, aren't they?
You wouldn't want to finish second in the competition though, would you? In pool play, to have to face New Zealand tomorrow that will probably finish 7th, even if they beat France here. France have won 2, Spain have won 2, so they're looking like they're guaranteed to go through from this pool. Nathan Wong, that's a lovely kick. Goss goes up again and claims it. What a captain she is. Kept her eye on the ball. Never took her eye off the ball at all. It was beautifully weighted, and now Brazier runs across the field. Nathan Wong out to Broughton. Broughton with that dummy and that trademark step. There's Gail Broughton. Takes 3 defenders. Tubic, the try scorer, out to her captain Goss, who got it going. Tackle coming in from Amir. Looks like he's fallen the wrong way. The referee says they never release the ball. Quickly tapped. Brazier steps, brings in 3 defenders. Now they've got some space here. They need to go straight. Tubic has options left and right. Hidemi comes on the late cut. Goss is there. Goss with another tackle coming in from Mayons. She's been impressive, has the French number 3, rated as one of the most physical teams on the circuit. There's so many of the opposition players. Now the French.
Well, that's got to be a penalty there. See the New Zealand player on her feet, not able to get it.
Sealing. It looked like what they had done there. And it must have taken a toll, all the defending that they have been doing. Big hit coming in from Woodman. And now the counter ruck comes in. Ballers, a little bit of football skills. Mayons is there again. What a work rate from Marjorie and Mayons. France. Now they look to try and put the hammer down. This is a good run from Ladanus. 11 tries, and now she just waits for some support. And it's always there in Horta. Now Ledouf. Out wide. Brazier comes running across, and there's a lovely gap that's just opened up. Goss gets back, and now the offload. Stepping on the inside, and out to Gracenu. One more offload. Look at the hands, the skill level from the French. Passes going to hand. The New Zealanders now called on to do some big defending, and Goss thinks that she's stolen it, and she has legally.
Well, I'll tell you what, I know the New Zealand team are nervous because what they're doing is they're trying to make sure of the tackle, so they're going quite low, but that gives France the opportunity for the offload. I mean, in every tackle they offloaded there, it's quite dangerous. I'd rather to see them wrapping them up a little bit higher in the tackle.
And one of the New Zealand players just getting a little bit of attention now, and it's Nathan Tyler Wong. That right knee doesn't look too comfortable. The physio on with her at this stage. She looks like she is in real discomfort.
Got to say that was a great passage from France, though. Really accurate in this tournament so far. And it is a loss. Tyler Nathan Wong, the highest goal kicker in the history of women's sevens as well.
The versatility of Brazier, Kelly Brazier, she goes from being first receiver to now going into halfback. And Fada Simpkins comes on and moves into second receiver. Gail Broughton moving into that first five role. So that is the siren, or the hooter, for the end of the first half. There is Broughton, and here's the first touch for Fada Simpkins. Can she create some space for Woodman? She looks up and she decides to kick it. How's the bounce? Fada Simpkins just come on the field.
No touch?
No problems. Woodman gets it out to Chubik, who just plays a little bit of basketball. They hand it on. Oh, this is a wonderful try from New Zealand. Honey Hitami will go in and score their third. They've gone coast to coast. Beautiful skills.
Well, that wasn't basketball, that was volleyball, mate, on the sevens field. That was fantastic. It was that beautiful kick here from Fada Simpkins. We've seen that before earlier in this tournament. She didn't quite collect it. Woodman was there, and look, a little set, just perfect up to Goss, who is so fit, always on the support, and Hitami to finish it off.
Dual international, played rugby league for New Zealand, the mother of three, nicknamed HBW, gets the job done. Conversion unsuccessful, but as we head to the break, New Zealand comprehensive in the first 7 minutes, leading 17 points to 0.
Yes, best performance, best half so far we've seen from New Zealand. Certainly back to business for them.
Hey, girls, that defence down there was outstanding pressure. They didn't get past that post. Gail, awesome. The pressure kept on coming. Look what happens, Kels, eh? When we look after the ball, we are very, very good, okay? So take them to the fringes, but we're going to work harder on our threes. And it's that third person getting there, okay? Don't expect for us just to romp over. They're good tacklers, and they're alive, okay? Now, when we're in D, though, from fractured play, they offload. So we've got to make that tackles count and pop up. We've got to start coming back in, okay? Squeeze it on the offload. We can't just sit back, okay? So squeeze on the offload, let the outside go, and then we'll drag the outside down, okay? Yeah. Squeeze it in. How are we feeling, Gail? Better, eh? Okay? Breathe, go, be direct, be decisive, be smart. Go, we've got it.
That's so good. Fucking man, let's keep it up. 7 minutes. Finish it. Sisters on 3. 1, 2, 3. Sisters!
Yeah, interesting words from Sean Horan. So the New Zealand defensive system, they're going to leave the French winger, person out wide, alone and free, so they can suffocate those offloads.
And apologies if there may have been some words there spoken. Emotion from some of the players wanting to get on with the job. As the restart from Ledouf is high, but it hasn't gone to 10 metres, and so more problems for the French. Fourth position on 52 points, 4 behind Australia, 6 behind second place Canada. They will qualify through to the quarterfinals. Well, France with their 2 victories earlier today, but this New Zealand side is angry, and Brazier runs across the field. Now Broughton gets the ball, spins out of the first tackle, places the ball back. The dive pass from Fada Simpkins out to Webber, who's just come on the field. Goss gets it out to Hitami. Lovely step up, be decisive, be direct, was the words from the coach, and they've got to release her now, but the French saying that they're holding her up. Could be a turnover here. Ball available. Webber is there, and No clear release.
Oh, and discipline there from the French team. The player was off her feet. That means she's out of play. That's not Mayon. It's just this.
Horter, I think it was, jersey number 6. Fanny Horter in New Zealand. This is intelligent play, Mel, just slowing things down and taking it to a set piece. They're well in control of this game as New Zealand.
Well, a set piece means that they have a man-on-man situation in that back line. Gives them an opportunity to attack somewhere in the midfield or out wide.
Kelly Brazier, Blackfern since 2009, loves surfing in her bio, and she gets her captain to hang 10. Up high goes Goss, the ball now available. It's there. The scrap comes in, and that's good play from France, but they've lost it forward, so Brazier goes and clears it. Broughton out to Fada Simpkins. She's got Woodman on the outside, trying to create a bit of space for her, and now Broughton comes across, and she's created the space. Here goes Woodman. Bye-bye. That is sublime rugby from the New Zealand Seven Sisters. Woodman goes in yet again. Try number 46 for the season, 4th in London. And there's nothing worse than an angry New Zealand female.
Well, you'd know from experience, Willie, but I tell you what was great about this. Fada Simpkins put her foot down. She tried on the defensive system. Woodman was outside, but it was Broughton who came round for the wrap and created the extra player there. Well worked, 3 players involved. Gee, this New Zealand team are looking really good. France have to get their hands on the ball.
Look at that. There was a close race at one stage there with Woodman, Landry and Falayan, but now she's just run away with it. 89 in her incredible career. She is definitely up there with some of the best. You think of in the men's game, Philomone De La Salle comes to mind immediately, Mel, and what he achieved, and she's special.
She really is, and look at that massive hit she's put on too.
Lathenus will be checking the ribs a little bit later on, because Woodman shows not only great on attack but also on defence with that tackle as Horter goes on one of those trademark runs of hers. Fanny Horter places the ball back, and now Mayons. Oh, she's terrific. She is a great player. There's Mayons, gets up to Brazier and says, get out of my way. The firefighter from France wanting to try and extinguish the fire that New Zealand are on at the moment. Horter just slowing things down now out to Lathenus. New Zealand making their tackles. Webber looking to try and get the turnover. They're in control again. Horter on that loop between her and Mayons, and really starting to take its toll now with the amount of defending that they were asked to do in the first 7 minutes.
Oh, absolutely. Fatigue set in, and also it's about mindset here. It's very difficult when you see the scoreboard says 24-0 to try and get yourself back into it. And they must be really disappointed, France, because they have played so well before this match in this tournament. But this, as you say, is a New Zealand team on fire in this. It's Ruby Tui coming on as a replacement in the forwards.
And Fourcade, one of the tallest players on in jersey number 11 for the French. So it's all about using the squad. Top try scorers here, 13 were New Zealand. Heading into this match, New Zealand had only scored 9. United States were ahead on 10, and so they've taken the lead there with the 4 that they have scored in this game, and the ball quickly cleared out to Fada Simpkins. Simpkins with a wide pass out to Woodman. She's got 2. Will she get 3? The tackles had to be made, and that was a beauty right around the bootlaces. Wasn't Howard, so she gets to her feet, and now the French can't get their hands on the ball. Brazier runs across the field and then unloads it to, you can see the intention from Goss was to just receive and offload to Tui. Thomas gets the pass, and the advantage, as you hear, is now over. So what can the French do? Well, they can't hold on to the ball. That's a problem. So Broughton goes in and wins it. Fada Simpkins needs to go over the ball.
11, white hands, buck is formed.
Brazier and taps, says let's score some more points. There is the step from Fada Simpkins. Look at the counter-ruck coming in from the French, and that's legal. That's been well done from Pelé. Just one of the new players, big and strong. Now just fighting it with Brazier, and so Brazier knows that if she can hold on to the ball here, It will be a maul, will be a turnover. She's got her knees on the ground. They've got to release her now, surely.
I think everybody is quite happy to have a bit of a rest in there, to be honest. Yeah, if you take the ball in and you're on your feet, you've got to get down and release it. And then New Zealand held up the French player, and she was unable to do anything. It's upper body strength for sure.
Good show of strength. There's more replacements come on for both sides. For New Zealand, Shide Tane, 3 tries from the Hamilton Girls High School.
Time on.
Former student, and so that moves Woodman a little bit closer to where the action is.
Set.
Fowler Simpkins stands behind the scrum. There is Woodman, who was standing out on the wing. Now will she create some space for Tane? That's not a good pass.
That's all right, Pete.
Yeah, it looked like she expected Tane just to be a little bit wider than she was. Must be a bit tough. She's been on the wing the whole time, and then she's asked to pass a big wide one in the middle.
The French, Goss goes up and competes, taps it out, and so they'll come back in again. The French want to get on with it, and so they do through Ledoux. Wide pass there, and it falls for Ladanus. Now look at the New Zealanders just pile in there, looking for the counter-ruck. The tackle from Goss, and now Weber is there. Lost forward, so it will be a scrum. No advantage here. We'll come back for that. Swarming defence has been a real feature of this New Zealand side.
Yeah, and they're throwing everything at the breakdown area, aren't they? It's a lot of hunger to get that ball back. And the pressure they're putting on there means that the French players just don't have clean ball to run onto. Makes it really difficult for them to get their attack and rhythm.
Bind.
Mel, we've been told that with this victory to New Zealand, they will qualify as the first team through to the Rio de Janeiro 2016 Summer Olympics. Congratulations to the 7 sisters. Great way to come back from the disappointment of losing to Spain earlier, but New Zealand getting the job done. 4 tries